Welcome to All There Is. I'm your host, Kelly Bargabas. We've had a few episodes now in the month of November that have focused on the crisis of homelessness. November is Homelessness Awareness Month, so my goal was just to talk about it, to bring some awareness, some of my own personal stories, and some of the things I've written about homelessness. And I have another one for you today. It's a really short piece. It's an essay I wrote about 13 years ago. I actually wrote it in 2009. I had a condo in downtown Syracuse, and it was wintertime. I remember this one night, we were sitting in our living room, and we had these big windows. I think it was a weeknight, maybe a Sunday night, really quiet. And all of a sudden there were all these lights, red lights, white lights, flashing lights. And so, of course, we looked out the window to try to see what was going on. And we eventually found out that a man had been found underneath a bridge. There was a freeway bridge that was really close to our property. And a man was found deceased underneath it. This guy and this girl found him. So this essay was inspired by that event. The truth is, after this happened, I kept looking for the story in the news. I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to know who he was. I wanted to know how he died. I wanted to know what happened. I watched the newspaper and the news channels and the online newspaper for a few days, a week or two. There was never anything about it. There was never anything in the news. And of course, I'm sure it has to do with the fact that this man probably lived on the streets. He was probably experiencing homelessness. So nobody told his story. It wasn't noteworthy enough to tell his story. And that really bothered me at the time. It still bothers me. And I think I've never personally lived on the streets. I've experienced it through my brother who did. So I know what it's like to love someone who lives on the streets. But I've never experienced that myself. But I can imagine how lonely it must be and how it just must feel to encounter all these people who pass by you every day and feeling like you're invisible and feeling like nobody knows your name, and how lonely and isolating and sad that must be. And so with all of this work that me and my husband are doing around homelessness and this crisis, it really is all to bring awareness, to inspire empathy, provoke action, hopefully, and move us all towards a solution. But I think a big part of awareness and understanding and empathy is really figuring out how to put yourself in the shoes of someone who is experiencing this crisis. And so that's what I hope to accomplish with some of the pieces that I've already shared and with the one that I'm going to share today. There's a certain form of essay that we call a hermit crab essay. And a hermit crab essay, they call it that because, hermit crabs will look for any sort of little shell or structure that they can use for their home. And they kind of burrow themselves in and make themselves a home in anywhere. And a hermit crab essay is one where you have something to share and you take on the form of something else. So I've written essays in the form of recipes or a to-do list, or I don't know, there's all different things you do where you take the form of something else and use that vehicle to convey your story or your essay, your thoughts, whatever it is you're trying to share. For this particular piece, I did this essay in the form of an obituary. So on paper, it's very narrow, like the column of a newspaper, and it's written in the form of an obituary. And it's called John Doe. John Doe, December 3rd, 2009. Traffic on the highway above kept moving as he tumbled from his bed to the icy concrete below. Frozen in a lake of blood, his body startled young lovers as they looked for a place to hide. While the red and white lights flashed against the dark sky, the cameras rolled in vain, recording a story that remains untold. His corner will be empty. You won't see his homemade sign with crooked letters. He won't be in the line that forms at dawn outside the red door of the church with those who have endured another night and now wait for breakfast to be served. A sister survives him with haunting memories of the brother who tiptoed down the hall in footed pajamas to avoid sleeping alone. No services will be held. Mourning has passed for a mother who lost her son long ago. I hope that gives you a little brief glimpse into what it must be like to be unknown, to be a John Doe where it's like you don't even have a name. And the next time maybe you encounter someone who is experiencing homelessness, you can look them in the eye and you can ask them their name. if it's safe for you to do so. I think sometimes we're so afraid of making connection or making contact or looking someone in the eye who is experiencing a crisis. And so we avoid their eyes. We don't talk to them. We don't ask them their name. They may say, "Hi, do you have $1?" And we don't want to give them $1 or we don't have $1. So we just avoid them altogether instead of stopping and saying, "No, I don't have $1 to give you, but my name's Kelly. What's your name?" And just having a moment to connect. I've done that here and there with people on the streets, and sometimes I don't do it because it doesn't feel safe or they don't seem like they want to connect. But I have been presented with opportunities to make a connection and to have a conversation, and I think that connection is good for both of us. So just think about that. Brene Brown has a great quote that I've read on her website, or I've heard her say it on her podcast, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, but it was something about how their mother taught them, when you see someone in pain, don't look away, look them in the eye. Have the courage to look them in the eye when they're suffering and when they're in pain. And I think there's so much power in that. And I think our instinct is to avoid, right? But there's real power in seeing people where they are. Good, bad, sad, suffering, happy, like really just connecting regardless of the circumstances and seeing the humanity of that in the moment. Thank you for listening to this short episode. Our next episode is really exciting. My husband, Craig Anderson, and I are going to be launching a really exciting project where you can actually take action and do something to help those that are experiencing the crisis of homelessness. So go to kellybargabas.com, check out all the past episodes that you missed, and please tune in to the next one. Thanks for your time. Take care.